Hey everyone, it's Jim
and Charles
from Mellow amps, and in episode number 15 we're going to do the release party for the new OTL kit headphone power amp.
At least for test builders, it's ready to go.
Yeah, so it's a very exciting moment, there's no drinkies or party hats. Unfortunately, it's like noon here and we actually still have a lot of work to do today. But before we get into this, caution everyone, electronics and tube amplifiers can have very high voltages present, which can be lethal. Exercise extreme caution when working around them. Always consult a professional technician when in doubt. Well, after months of work, sometimes intense work, the new OTL kit headphone power amp is finally ready to release to test builders. We currently have 7 builders on our list and we have room for 3 more. And if you want to build a kit right away and don't qualify as a test builder, just go ahead and order one and we'll ship yours in the first run.
But you're not going to get any free tubes with it.
No. And talking about free tubes, we always give a big thank you to test builders with a gift of a free new old stock, high quality set of matched vintage tubes. And Charles has chosen the really nice Toshiba 6080s.
Yep, so they're fantastic, high quality, tight testing. We love just about every Japanese tube that we get our hands on because their attention to detail and their reliability are just top notch. And we should have enough of the Toshibas to fill out our test builder list, and we have some more on the way, thankfully, if we don't. But we do have some other great options available too if we do run out of them.
Yeah, so if you're one of the later test builders to buy your kit, you'll probably get a sub for the 6080, not the Toshibas, but we'll send something really nice anyways. We always send high quality tubes. I mean, we want when you first listen to your kit to have great sound and hopefully leave us a good review. And the reviews that we get in the store are just wonderful. Sometimes they're short and sweet and to the point, and sometimes they're extremely detailed, but they're all very useful for people who don't know us, haven't built a kit yet, and they're wondering, what's all this hype about? And can I really get an audiophile quality amp if I build it myself for this much money? And the answer is yes, you can. All you have to do is take your time and just follow the build videos. In fact, talking about the build videos, we're almost halfway through, I'd say, Charles.
Yeah, well, here's the build that's currently ongoing right here, and it's going beautifully. We're making great progress on it. Expect some more episodes to get released over the next few days. And yeah, so one of the big changes that we actually made on this amp recently is the filter stage and the power supply. And I guess that should lead us into what we need to drive this. So let's start there.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit last week about the fact that this is a pure power amp. So it needs a preamp to drive it. Now it doesn't need that much voltage, and you can drop into the manual. It's online in the store as a free PDF. And it's got all the specifications in it, everything you need basically to build the kit in conjunction with the build videos themselves. And if you want a high quality printed manual, they're not expensive. Just order one when you check out. You don't need a lot of voltage, but what you do need is a very low noise preamp to drive it.
Or a digital music player.
Yeah, I mean a high quality DMP. We use a couple of them around the music room and the lab as just a quick ready source of files to use for testing, and they work great and they sound great. Obviously, the better the quality of the source, the better the power amp's going to sound. So now, the one downside we've discovered with the OTL amp is that it is so quiet and so sensitive that any level of noise coming from the preamp stage you're going to hear it. And
if you have sensitive headphones.
yeah. And our most sensitive pair for testing were the Sennheisers, and they were up there. They were 104 dB sensitive, and you can hear everything. In fact, if an electron farted in the power supply, you would hear it. That's how sensitive those headphones are. And that actually got us into a bit of trouble. We actually built the original prototype on the Classic line chassis, and it was dead quiet. Even with the Sennheisers, you couldn't hear anything. And then we built the first production prototype, and all of a sudden we had a very, very, very low level of 60 and 120 hertz hum.
So we went back to the drawing board and we greatly improved our filter stages in the power supply while still keeping it on the same topology. And wow, did it ever make a difference. We almost tripled our capacitance, I think.
Yeah, and we went down, we were bench testing the first production version at about 12 to 14 millivolts, which is really low for noise from a power supply. In fact, in all of the kits we've ever built to date, we would consider that to be good. Better than good would be fantastic. So anyways, with the redesign, Charles actually modeled the power supply. It's 3 stages. He modeled it in his computer program, and it turns out that we could do a little bit of trickery with the stages using the same amount of
overall resistance and capacitance, but optimizing their position.
Well, we ended up increasing the capacitance significantly, but the resistance stayed the same, which was great because the rest of the design stayed the same essentially.
And that got our noise floor down to 2 to 4 millivolts, I think it was.
I think so. And then we thought, well, what is the noise in the air of the lab when it's dark for testing? That means that we have no noisy devices.
We shut off everything.
We shut off everything. Our phones, everything are not in the lab. Even the lights are turned off. That's why you call it going dark. And the noise in the air that we were measuring was 2 to 4 millivolts. That means that essentially there is no noise floor on the power amp. But, you know, that's not true. There is a noise floor. It's just so low that we can't measure it on our own gear. And unless we built a Faraday cage in which to do the testing, the noise in the air, the random noise, would actually corrupt our results because it would always be higher than the actual tested noise. So, yeah, I mean, years ago when I was a young audiophile in the 70s, we didn't have any of that noise in the air, or very, very little of it. But now
there's so much more wireless. There's a lot of gadgets out there that are using fast speed switching supplies on them, and there's just, you know, there's noise everywhere. There's electronics everywhere.
There's a sub base not far from us, you know, maybe 5 miles, 8 kilometers, something like that. And we can actually hear some of the weird shit that they're, you know,
very low frequency signals and things like
that they use to communicate with subs when they're underwater. So yeah. So anyways,
so we ended up switching out the capacitors on it for a slightly shorter model. Here's the original one right here.
Yeah, stand it up on there.
So you can see roughly the difference here. And that prompted us to actually make an improved version of our build stands. One that has 2 different heights for it, one for the short caps and one for the long. And they're marked as to which side. And these are just great to build with. So you can see we're matching the height with the capacitor.
Yeah,
and that makes it easy to solder.
Yeah, it makes it easy to actually get the capacitors on the board and
sitting flush and flat and ready to tack in.
So the build stands aren't expensive, and if you want a set of build stands, just scroll to the lower part of the website, and down low you'll see the accessory section, and you can grab those. If you wanted to try an earlier type of 6080, the 6AS7, we have a couple of excellent examples in the store. One of my favorites is the Svetlana, and this is actually labeled as a 6N13S. That's the English version of the Cyrillic number, but it's an exact equivalent to the 6AS7G. And it's a wonderful sounding 6AS7. In fact, we did all the bench testing and critical listening with this tube. And Charles actually has a few, not too many, a couple of pairs of NECs.
Yeah, so these are the NEC 6AS7s, and of course we love NEC. They've made some fantastic tubes that we've been enjoying lately, mainly because they were set up by Western Electric. So that's important right there. But they make great tubes. We have some of the 6080 versions of these and some of the 6AS7s that are in the store. And we also have some of the last production versions of the 6080s ever made. These are WC versions made by Sylvania. And they are extremely robust, very reliable in tight testing, and we're hoping to find even more of those too.
You can recognize these tubes by the really interesting fiberglass cloth that they mounted in between the base and the glass. And we're not even 100% sure what that is. Maybe it's just to help with the expansion and contraction. Remember, these are true mil-spec tubes, so they were designed for heavy-duty service. Which is probably one of the reasons why. And a lot of the equipment that these tubes would have been used in historically would have been turned on and left on. So
they would get hot and stay hot for a long time.
Yeah, and that's something that we may not have even talked about yet in the build series. The build series, by the way, is about half done, and it should be finished by the end of next week. So, but these tubes get hot. They get extremely hot. So be really careful working around them especially when they're lamped. And the cabling, of course, comes in over and in. And we haven't actually had a problem with any issue with cables getting burnt on the tubes, and we've done a lot of testing.
Yeah.
In fact, I've done some run tests in which we just run the amp just all day long and make sure that
monitor the temperatures, component values, things like that, and it's been great.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to take us about a week to ship, depending on how many orders come in. And if anybody has any questions, of course, just drop us a line. But other than that, the next week, all we're going to be doing is boxing and shipping kits,
and finishing the build videos.
So, and then we'll be out on the lawn taking a break, I think. So, anyways, this is Jim
and Charles
signing off. Cheers, everyone.